This is Channel 4, New Orleans.
Garland, Robinette. Angela Hill. Jim Henderson with sports. And Nash Roberts with the weather. From Channel 4 Television, this is Eyewitness News.
Angry words flew at a packed meeting in the New Orleans City Council chambers tonight. The meeting was to discuss a proposed police commission with vast powers. But the hearing almost got out of hand before it really began. Ken Johnson was there and has this report. Ken?
Angela, protesters tonight threatened to turn New Orleans into another Miami, and for a few tense moments it appeared as if they were going to do it. It was an ugly scene at City Hall, described by one police officer as a near riot. The purpose of tonight's public hearing was to discuss a proposed police administration commission which would have vast powers over the police department, including the authority to hire and fire the police chief. The problem began when Councilman Joe Giarrusso outlined the rules that would govern the hearing. Tempers flared as protesters charged they were being muzzled. Councilman Giarrusso demanded order.
You don't run this meeting, and I'm telling you straight out, if you don't behave yourself, you will get ejected from this chamber. I will tell you how to behave. You will behave.
I'm a man. Nobody not telling me how to behave. Now, anybody want to take us and tell it for that?
And you're not going to dictate.
You don't tell me how to behave.
At one point, Councilman Giarrusso ordered a battery of New Orleans policemen to restore order in the council chambers and to physically remove anyone who was speaking up and not recognized to speak. As the policemen moved in, several hundred protesters stood up to meet the police face to face.
Way to get your point across, then I can only tell you that I'm going to move that we adjourn this meeting as of now.
After that threat, Councilman called for a short recess. The two sides then agreed to a compromise set of rules to govern the hearing, and tempers cooled considerably. Right now, the public hearing is finally underway, and it should continue until midnight. We have people at City Hall, and we will be bringing you developments as they happen. Garland, back to you.
Ken, the hostages got their official U.S. welcome home today as they landed at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. The reception was overwhelming. Among the crowd were brothers and sisters, grandparents and girlfriends who were seeing the returnees for the first time in person. Crowds lined the bus route to the White House, where the 52 were welcomed by President Reagan. In a ceremony on the South Lawn, Reagan praised them for their bravery. It was Bruce Langan, former charge d'affaires at the U.S. Embassy in Iran, who spoke for the hostages.
President, in very simple words that come from the hearts of all of us, it is good to be back. Thank you, America, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
21 of the former hostages have accepted invitations to a New York ticker tape parade. Others will soon be bound for home to make up for lost time.
During the welcoming ceremony for the former hostages, President Reagan had a warning for future hostage takers.
Be aware that when the rules of international behavior are violated, our policy will be one of swift and effective retribution. We hear it said that we live in an era of limit to our powers. Well, let it also be understood, there are limits to our patience.
What started as a sheriff deputy's party last night in Fat City evolved into a bizarre hit-and-run shootout that ended in death for an innocent bystander. Andre Trevine has details.
A group of off-duty Jefferson Parish deputies were celebrating the monthly shift changeover in a Fat City club. Someone in the group apparently had words with one of three men also in the club, who then left. A few minutes later, the group of deputies, which included 23-year-old Janet Johnston, the girlfriend of one of the deputies, left Gino's and headed for another club. They were walking in the parking lot behind Gino's when a white Mustang containing the three suspects came directly at them at a high rate of speed, striking Deputy Raymond Van Marienborg. At that point, shots were fired, and the deputies fanned out to chase the three suspects who had scattered, not knowing that Miss Johnston lay in the parking lot with a gunshot wound to the back.
Ballistics tests that were done early this morning indicate that the bullet came from a gun owned by one of our deputies.
The deputy whose bullet killed Ms. Johnston is identified as Bruce Stacklin, a 2-year veteran of the department. Now in custody at the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center are 17-year-old David Ford of Kenner, 24-year-old Roosevelt Hall, and 19-year-old Kenneth Lawrence. All are charged with attempted murder and resisting arrest. Sheriff Lee says the results of his office's investigation will be turned over to the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office, where a decision will be made as to whether or not charges should be brought in connection with Miss Johnston's death. Andre Trevine, Channel 4, Eyewitness News.
Teachers' request for more security at a Bunch Village school will probably receive a lot of attention from now on. That's likely because a teacher at that school was almost raped. Norman Robinson has that story.
I am appalled that something like this has happened in Jefferson Parish. It shouldn't. There is just absolutely no reason for it to happen.
The incident happened at R.J. Bunch Career Center. 2 female special education consultants and a female school administrator were in the west building by themselves. A man wearing a ski mask allegedly walked into their office wielding a knife. He allegedly took their money and forced one of the women into the girl's bathroom, where he attempted to take her clothes off. The culprit was reportedly distracted by noises and subsequently forced the woman outside the building away from the school near the railroad tracks, where he again tried to rape her. But this time, a young passerby came to the woman's rescue and the attacker fled.
It's not safe. You don't put 2 women in a building alone and not have security.
Eyewitness News obtained a copy of a letter sent last year to Bunch School Principal Frank Williams and school administrators Anthony Cimento and Al Cassang. The letter requested deadlocks and security bars. At a news conference, the principal denied any knowledge of concern for personal safety, says the aforementioned letter pertained to securing expensive equipment. Assistant Superintendent Paul Jimenez says he doesn't know anything about requests from employees to secure the building.
The school system, and no one can undo the past, but I promise you this, the school system has a no-nonsense approach to when it comes to things like this and to looking after the needs of its employees and its students.
Jimenez says the situation at Bunch School is unique because the facility is being made ready to receive students under a new VOTEC program, and those involved in the planning stages are often left in the buildings by themselves. In the meantime, the school system has now hired a security guard. Police are still searching for the attacker, and 2 Jefferson Parish School Board members say they will ask for a complete investigation into the question of security at Bunch School. This is Norman Robinson, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
The price of gasoline and water is going up.
And Jefferson schools go from famine to feast.
Just say hello to a brand new world. It's just outside your door.
Now that Pan Am and National are one, you can fly Pan Am to 25 great U.S. cities like Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, and New Orleans, and get the kind of international service that's made us famous. Say hello to Pan Am.
Say hello to a brand new world. Say hello to Pan Am.
What we're about to announce is only happening at one place in the United States. Almost 200 1981 Buicks, the official courtesy cars for this year's Super Bowl, are for sale tomorrow at your quality Buick dealer. They were used less than 2 weeks. Most have less than 300 miles, but we still can't sell them as new. That means you can buy a 1981 Buick Super Bowl courtesy car for no more than a used car. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a 1981 Buick Super Bowl courtesy car at a used car price. It's tomorrow at your quality Buick dealer.
I probably should have told you this a long time ago. Maybe because I work for you, maybe because of habit, maybe because I'm a little bit afraid of you. You know, master, slave. It's not your fault. It's mine. Anyway, no more.
You can earn interest on money in a central check account at your OneStop Family Financial Center now.
But you know, I like you.
When you go for a fling on the balloon, is he sitting far downstream?
Get closer.
When you book a cozy little table for 2, do you find something has come between you?
Get closer.
Only Certs has flavor crystals and Rexin for great taste and fresh breath that lasts over an hour. When you want a smooch, does she call the pooch?
Get closer.
An Islamic Summit meeting aimed at bringing peace to the Persian Gulf instead is rallying behind calls for a new holy war in the Mideast. The Islamic leaders meeting in Saudi Arabia displayed unity as they called for taking control of Jerusalem from Israel. The leaders say every means should be used to fight the battle, including an oil embargo on foreign oil exports from OPEC nations. And gasoline prices may go up as high as 13 cents a gallon by the end of this year. The rise will begin shortly after President Reagan announces his decision to decontrol gasoline and oil prices.